Wait for the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Hear me out. I'm super excited to make this video because I want to tell you a lot about what should be coming or what's been rumored. I've been reading about this for the past week and I'm getting super excited the more I read about it, and I want to share with you what I've learned so far so you can kind of get an idea of why you should be consider waiting for the 15 Pro Max, but probably even the whole 15 announcement, and just skip out buying one at this second. Let's begin with the very first one, and it's going to start with the cameras. Now, I've been complaining for about a year, well, not really complaining, but in my reviews, saying that the area that should be improved of the iPhone is the zoom. And now this does have 3x zoom, which I still think is plenty enough for the majority of consumers. But at the pro level, people that are really doing camera a lot are definitely a little bit phone envy of things like the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra that do have, much more zoom. Periscope cameras on here are really setting this apart. Also, they're not the only ones. Sony is making phones. This is the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV. Mark V has it as well, periscope camera. You also have it on some other Chinese phones as well out there. So this phone right here is going to be getting the periscope zoom. So the zooming capabilities of the iPhone 15 Pro Max are going to be well worth the wait, and probably the feature that I'm most excited about seeing. The next one is a crimson red color is likely coming. Now, crimson red, I think on the Pro is going to be somewhat of a darker red, kind of like a deep, red burgundy style. Just take a look at the iPhone 14 Pro in this purple. Now, this is a rumor. Nobody knows for sure if this red is coming, but if you can only imagine this red you see here on my left screen and this type of materials, maybe even a titanium material, it's going to be something like that. I feel like it's not going to be the vivid red you find on the iPhone 14 Plus, or iPhone 14. Those are usually, the vivid colors are usually reserved for that. So probably more of a deeper type of, color, like a burgundy or something like that, a crimson style. That's definitely something to look forward to if you've been looking for a product red iPhone in the Pro line for a long time. We can't guarantee the colors ever, but for sure that's something that may happen, and it kind of makes me excited because I've been waiting for a Pro red iPhone since way back when the iPhone 8 Plus came out, and that was the top of the line back then in the red color. Now, rumors are also are pointing to a replacement of the mute switch. Now, some people are saying that they're going to do what they did here on the Apple Watch Ultra. Let me take the case off here. Yeah, and I do put a case, even though it's titanium. I know it doesn't scratch easy, but still, this watch isn't cheap. So you can see right here, we do have an action button here on the Apple Watch Ultra. Now, I feel like we're going to see maybe a titanium body like this on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but you're going to probably find a button. It might not become called an action button. It might just be a user customizable button. They might call it something else to make it more appealing. But there are signs that we're going to see from, there's rumors in case leaks that have already been showing, we're probably going to see a replacement to that. So that's not a big deal for me to be super overly excited about, but it's definitely something nice. Now, rumors are churning out that we might see a 2 terabyte option. These are just rumors though. We don't even know for sure if that's the case, but we'll probably see a 2 terabyte option. I have 256 gigs, and you can see I used 176 gigs already on this phone. So as time goes on and storage becomes, more used with these higher end phones, having more storage options is always good, especially for those of you who don't like to, take photos off and you don't got time for all that. You might like a 2 terabyte option. The next one I've mentioned before, but it's going to be a USB-C. Finally, we will likely see a USB-C on the next iPhone. Now, this is probably going to annoy some people who have everything lightning in their life, like all their cables are lightning and everything. Might annoy they have to get a few new accessories, but people get over it, just like they got over the fact that we didn't have, a headphone jack anymore on an iPhone. So I think people will definitely get over that. Now, the next thing is Apple is rumored to be launching a 3nm A17 chip. Now, we always know that Apple's going to go to the next version of the chip, but this is big news because the 3nm is going to be so much faster, according to some leaked benchmarks already, going to be so much faster than the current Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 on the Galaxy phones, as well as the A16. Whereas the iPhone 15 will probably get the A16 that you see in the iPhone 14 Pros and Dynamic Islands. So the base iPhone 15s should have basically a similar CPU and Dynamic Islands like the 14 Pro and Pro Max had, which will make those pretty good deals if you skipped out on the 14 Pro and Pro Max. Now the next one is going to be their battery sizes. This is another exciting reason to wait because a lot of people have said the 14 Pro and Pro Max have been their worst battery iPhones since they've came out. And if you are looking for bigger batteries, you'll want to wait for the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. For sure, the Pro Max. Let me know your thoughts on battery. How has it been for you on your Pro and Pro Max this year? And are you ready for another one? So you see these bezels here along the edges? These haven't really changed much over the years, but there are rumors pointing to the fact that, they're going to stretch this and make this more of an all-screen iPhone on the next version. And I think that would be pretty cool because a lot of, companies have kind of like done curved screens and made their phones look a little bit more bezel-less than Apple has. Apple does have pretty thin bezels, don't get me wrong, but there are phones out there that have a thinner bezel. Now, this is kind of an obsession with thinness. Apple's definitely been obsessed with thinness for a long time. So I feel like there is some validity to this rumor, and I do think the bezels are definitely going to get thinner on the next iPhone. It would just make sense. It's definitely a way to differentiate this from the last model without making it look too similar. Now, the iPhone 15 models are definitely something you should also consider waiting for, as I talked about in my previous, iPhone 15 or 14 Pro. Should you wait? You should definitely probably even wait for those because those are going to be almost like 14 Pro models. Well, not quite as premium, but pretty nice models. I think we're going to see some nice regular base models as well, even though I don't expect them to be super popular, amongst the tech fans out there. They're definitely going to be a nice jump from the iPhone 13 if you skipped out on the 14. And honestly, the titanium body, like we talked about earlier with the Apple Watch Ultra, if they bring this, which there's heavy rumors that they will, we are going to see a much lighter Pro iPhone, which means that no more will I be saying that the iPhone is quite a brick, quite heavy. And some people say in the comments, bro, if you can't lift an iPhone, you got to hit the gym, bro. Listen, I get the fact that you want to, make jokes about people need to hit the gym if they can't lift an iPhone. It's not about that, bro. It's about the fact that if you compare these phones to other phones in the same price range, they're simply lighter and more comfortable to hold. Nobody said that we're going to have some, issues in our wrists and stuff like that. But, what about an older person who does have arthritis in their fingers, or they have something going on with their wrist, carpal tunnel, something like that? What about somebody like that who's 70 years old? They also need a larger phone because they can't really see that well. They need to blow the text up, blow up the size. What about them? Yeah, they got the 14 Plus. What if they don't want the 14 Plus? There's a lot of case scenarios out there where a lighter phone makes more sense, and most phones that compete with the 14 Pro Max are simply lighter. Foldables are becoming lighter. So I do see this happening. I do see a titanium body coming, and I do see this getting lighter. I could be wrong, but it seems very likely. And lastly, consider just waiting because the price point of these right now is going to be so, yes, it's likely going to go up a couple $100, maybe $11.99 to start, maybe $12.99 to start. We'll see where Apple takes the pricing, but I do expect a price increase just because they're going to be bringing a different body of material. They're going to be bringing new features. Periscope camera is a reason right away they might increase the price. So expect that, but it still doesn't make sense splurging on this right now when that is coming. So those are basically all the reasons I'm super excited about the iPhone, 15 Pro and Pro Max. I just can't wait for these phones. Of course, every year there's going to be something exciting, but this year with the 14 Pro and Pro Max, they weren't super exciting, but I think this 15 Pro and Pro Max are going to be a really nice jump with the 16 models next year being probably a total redesign. We'll see what happens. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts. Are you excited? Are you waiting? Are you already got your cash ready? You ready? Or you like, no, bro, I don't buy iPhones. What are you talking about? I just watch your videos, but I don't buy iPhones. Drop your comments down below. I'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Nick here. Be sure to be well and peace.